UCSD delegation visits Huazhong Institute of Technology. The UCSD delegation in China, headed by Chancellor William McElroy, paid a visit to Huazhong Institute of Technology from September 11 to 15, 1979, at the invitation of President Zhu Jiushi. The delegation, accompanied by Vice President Wang Shuren all the way from Guangzhou, arrived at the Hankou railway station on September 11 at 2:30 p.m. President Zhu Jiushi, together with Vice President Shen Shenhai and other leading members of the Institute, greeted the distinguished guests at the station. In the evening, President Zhu Jiushi gave a banquet in honor of the delegation. The hosts and the guests frequently proposed a toast to the friendship between the Chinese and American peoples. And to the prospect of a long association between UCSD and HIT, President Zhu spoke at the banquet. He said, "I have the pleasure, on behalf of the Institute faculty and the students, to extend a warm welcome to the UCSD delegation headed by Chancellor McElroy. I believe the delegation's visit to our institute will greatly enhance and develop the friendly relations and the cooperation between our two institutions." On the morning of September 12, Chancellor McElroy and his party arrived at the Huazhong Institute of Technology. They were warmly received by President Zhu and his colleagues in front of the main building of the Institute. And then ushered into a large reception room, where the Chancellor introduced to the hosts all the members of his delegation. And President Zhu introduced to the guests the academic and administrative officers of the Institute. Chancellor of the UCSD delivered a splendid speech full of warm-heartedness and noble ideas. He said, "On behalf of the UCSD delegation, I would like to say that we are most delighted to be here and to have the opportunity to meet you in friendship and good feelings." In his speech, he emphasized exchange of friendship and knowledge as the key to success for people in the global age. He ended his speech by saying, "We look forward to a long association between our two institutions which will enrich both cultures. Then he presented gifts to the Huazhong Institute of Technology and to the hosts. After the meeting, Chancellor McElroy and his party, accompanied by President Zhu Jiushi, visited a number of the Institute's laboratories. They visited the lab of physics, the lab of electronics, the lab of laser techniques, the high voltage lab, the lab of electronic computers, the lab of biomechanics, the ship motor experiment tank, the experiment forge, and the Institute-run machining workshop. these labs and workshops are for instructional purposes. Then they ascended the top of the main building of the institute, where they had a complete view of the institute campus. On the morning of September 13, the hosts and the guests met in the reception room again. They exchanged views on matters of common concern. Broke into groups and went among HIT faculty members and students, holding discussions with them on various subjects of common concern. Here you see Dr. Kenneth Bowles talking with computer people. Dr. Sao Chi-nin with people specialized in laser techniques. Dr. David Wang and Dr. Brian Mabel with people specialized in physics. Dr. Martin DeLuca, at the invitation of the Wuhan Medical College, giving a talk there on the clinical application of bioluminescence, and the wives of some of the delegation members talking in English with some of the HIT students of the English language. In another room, Chancellor McElroy and President Zhu held talks on matters of academic exchange between the two institutions. Dr. Manuel Rotenberg, Dr. Yuan Zhenfeng, and Dr. Paul Pickowicz of UCSD, and Wang Shuren, Sun Xinghai, Vice President of HIT, Huang Ziru, HIT's provost in charge of academic programs, and Liu Jian, Director of the HIT Foreign Affairs Department, took part in the talks. On the same day, President Zhu introduced to Chancellor McElroy the 5 Chinese visiting scholars who are going to UCSD in November this year. After this, Chancellor McElroy and his party, accompanied by Vice President Wang Shuren, visited the Guoyuan Monastery, a famous place of historic interest. And it told about East Lake, one of the scenic spots in Wuhan. The greatly enjoyed the sightseeing and the boating on the lake. On the evening of September 13, Chancellor McElroy gave a return banquet at a restaurant. It had been announced that the two institutions had reached an agreement on academic exchange to the satisfaction of both parties. A meeting presided over by President Zhu, Chancellor McElroy gave a talk on support for basic and applied research in the United States. And Dr. Rodenberg on operation of education and research at UCSD. Attending this meeting were most of the academic and administrative officers of HIT. At other separate meetings, Dr. Sao Chinin lectured on the recent developments and the prospects of application of the ultra-shortwave lasers. Dr. Kenneth Bowes on computer-based popular education. Dr. Brian Maple on superconductivity. And Dr. David Wong on the teaching of physics in the United States. Dr. Paul Pickowicz had a free discussion with Chinese scholars specialized in political science. Dr. Yan Zhenfeng and Dr. Mike Yan, as had been arranged earlier, would give lectures at HIT for 1 month after they ended their planned visit to a number of cities in China. At 2:30 in the afternoon of September 14, President Zhu Jiusu and Chancellor William McElroy signed the agreement on academic exchange between Huadong Institute of Technology in the People's Republic of China and the University of California, San Diego in the United States of America, at a signing ceremony permeated with a cordial and friendly atmosphere. The signing of the agreement marked the formal beginning of the close cooperation between the two institutions. May the cooperation last as long as these evergreen cypresses standing erect on the campus. of the signing ceremony, President Zhu Jiushi presented gifts to the University of California, San Diego. And to the members of the delegation. The delegations for the visit to HIT made great contributions to strengthen the friendship and the cooperation between the two institutions. With fruitful results and the profound sentiments of friendship from the HIT faculty and the students, the delegation left for Sichuan on the 15th of September for their next visit to Chongqing University. They were seen off at the Wuchang airport by President Zhu Jiushi and his colleagues. Blossom into fruits of rich academic results.